Welcome back. Here comes a talented actress whose work includes the American Pie films and Orange is the New Black. She created, wrote, and stars in the new series Russian Doll. Please welcome Natasha Lyonne. See you. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello. How's it going?
So happy to see you here.
Same.
This is like a rare treat.
It is because it's very early for me, and usually we spend our nights together.
Yeah, that's true. Now,
Yeah.
Orange is the New Black is ending. I would think, I mean, it's going to be emotional for me. I would think it would be way more emotional for the actual cast.
Yes, it has been an utter weep fest around there.
Yeah.
It's wild, you know. I mean, it's been such an incredible journey getting to work on that show, and I think we just got very, very tight in a very real way. Starting tomorrow, I'm like, we start the final episode of like the whole
Unbelievable.
the series finale.
Well, is there a table read? Like, will you be weeping?
We don't do table read, so I do the weeping just sort of on set in a way to slow
When you're there doing the work.
Yeah, I'm like mid-scene, I'm like Pied and me, weeping. But this year also was so wild because Genji had me direct one of the episodes.
That's gotta be so great.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, you know, I think that Orange became so popular and such a sort of pop culture phenomenon that we forgot that there was like this incredible ensemble of just insane actors and amazing writing. And like when you're sitting at the monitor looking at them, and that there's just like the amount of love I have in my heart for Danielle Brooks or Yael Stone, and then watching them do their scene is just
Was that
heavy.
something you
It's like
always...
meaning of life stuff. You're like, that's my friend, and they're amazing.
Did you always think about directing an episode? Is that something you really had your sights set on?
You know, to be honest, it's been kind of like an organic sort of journey into that. You know, I got my... I started in showbiz in 1984, and nobody here was born yet.
Jody Watley was #1 on the chart.
Yeah, like, this I could do all day. This would make me happy. Yeah, I think I always sort of was such a, you know, big movie buff, and, you know, went to NYU to Tisch when I was, a teenager, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to be as a director someday. And I was always getting, like, sidetracked with acting, and I love acting. And what's been so incredible about this kind of past few years is the way sort of like Genji and Amy Poehler and these women in my life, even, you know, working with Nora Ephron, that these incredible sort of female figures in my life really sort of pushed me to do something that I always wanted to do that I didn't truly know I was sort of capable of until I just started doing it.
You know, it's very interesting. I'm listening to you, and when you speak with the authority of a much older woman.
Thank you.
And yet I feel like I watched you grow up in front of my eyes. And so what I'm about to say seems surreal and real all at the same time, but you have a big birthday coming up.
Thank you.
A milestone birthday.
21. That's right.
You can finally go out to the clubs.
I can find, like, all the things I do. Clubbing, drinking, driving, sleeping, whatever.
All of it. You can do whatever you want. You can vote.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to be voting. It's a big year. No, I mean, it is. I'm going to be 40, which is big. And, you know, I think... bunch of very sick people in this audience to applaud such a thing. But no, I think it's wild that sort of, you know what it is to be kind of a woman, and I think there's a huge misnomer that somehow your 20s or like your teen years are like the prime of your femaledom. It's sort of like false advertising set up through advertising.
I believe that
it's a false bill of
life
goods.
begins at 40. I've said it 1,000 times. I would never, ever, ever, if you gave me all the money in the world, I would not go back.
How much money?
Well, maybe. If you gave me Ryan's wallet, maybe I would go back.
I'd be like, but I don't want to be 21 again, but I'll take it.
Are you having a big party? Are you going to do a big 40th
what are you gonna do?
celebration?
I thought about it, but it's like the prices to rent New York spaces are just because they never gave me this money to go back in time and relive my 20s. I was unable to, make that deal. And cut to the end of the story, I'm like, maybe I stay at home, play a crossword puzzle, and I can text message about how amazing it is to be finally truly embodied in my female-dom or something.
Oh my gosh.
Monday,
Commercial break. Will you come back? Stay with us?
I'm gonna watch the
We're going to talk about a woman named Nadia from Russian Doll when we return. Stick around.
in Russian Doll, and she keeps
dying.
Yeah.
It is like the Groundhog's Day of death.
Well, yes, that might be redundant, but true.
So tell us about Russian Doll, because it's like a fascinating premise. You wrote the show.
It's incredible.
You created the character. Are you producing it with Amy Poehler?
Yeah, it was, Poehler and I came up, she called me, I'd known her for sort of, probably 15 years, like I said, been around since the 80s, and she appeared in the 90s, and then, and she called me up one day in the 2000s and said, hey, this is me doing an impression of Amy. I'm also very good at impressions. She said, hey, as long as I've known you, you've always been the oldest girl in the world. And I said, hey, what is this, an insult phone call? No thanks. And she said, wait a minute. What if we made a show called, at the time, Old Soul, about this generally? And I said, sold. And I hung up immediately, regretting hanging up so quickly without
I like that you hung up on your cell phone, too.
It was hung up. Anyway, one of the great pantomime phone calls that I've had. So then we started kind of like, we'd worked on this other show that didn't happen, and at the end of that we said, she said to me, if we could make anything in the world, what would it be? What's a story we really want to tell? So it's like, a Groundhog's Day meets the far more popular No Exit, also a movie with Bill Murray.
Right.
Yes.
And she plays Nadia. Natasha plays Nadia in Russian Doll. It's streaming on Netflix. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Great to see you.
It's a good binge watch.
Yeah, binge
watch it. Natasha, thanks for being here.
Thank you so
Come see
much.
us more often.